Welcome to Creating Disney Magic with Lee Cockerell, lessons in leadership, management, and customer service. You can create magic too. I'm your host, Jody Mayberry, and I'm going to bring up a topic this week that I chose this question because it's a topic I know Lee really has a heart for. It comes up at least once a year. Lee, it's about anxiety, but it is anxiety asked in a different way. One of our most popular episodes ever was about anxiety and depression. Well, this question is about someone who loves their job. They feel like they had been a people person for a long time, but now working with people in public gives them anxiety. She said, loves her job, but working with people is giving her horrible anxiety. Now, this is quite a bit different than the anxiety we talked about in the past. I wanted to bring it to you, Lee, because I know you just have a heart for people that have anxiety, haven't been through it. Do you have anything to offer at this? Someone that just is having a lot of trouble dealing with anxiety, working with people.
What she's going through, lots of people are going through, and it's not because of working with people. It's because other things in her life have gotten tighter, more insecure. If this just started, I would tell you other people out there have been doing their job for 10 years or 5 years or 20 years are having the same issue. It's not the job, it's a combination of insecurity, worrying about finances, worrying about politics, worrying about their future, worrying about being able to pay the rent, their electric bill, their kids getting in trouble, drugs, alcohol. Many things pile up on you. It's easy to say it's caused at work, but it's probably a combination of many things. Maybe her parents are getting older, maybe her grandparents died. One thing after another happens to all of us, and it piles up. I think sometimes we don't really know that it's accumulative, that it's come from many things. Maybe it comes from some things she didn't do that she should have, or some responsibility, or some learning, or her own performance. I would say she definitely ought to go see a therapist and start some therapy. You can either get one where you go visit them every week, or you can go online. There's many good ones that are online therapy now, which you talk it out. And let me tell you, I know many friends and family of mine that are going to therapy. And they go every week, and they have issues, the pressures of life, the cost of living, the insecurity of leaving home, going to college, well, having children not doing well, an illness in the family. It's unlikely it's one thing. It's an accumulation of a lot of things going not so well. And as we've talked before, a lot of times we let these things get out of control because we don't deal with them because they're very difficult. And we kind of have a lot of empathy, and we don't want to have a hard conversation with somebody, or we don't want to make a hard decision with somebody because those are very hard psychologically to deal with and to take care of. And we want to be nice, but sometimes you can't be as nice as you'd want to be. So I think about this. I go through it myself. I had this, I went through it with my wife. She was sick, and I ended up with depression because Priscilla was sick. And then I've flirted with it when I'm under pressure even these days about worrying about something in my life or my finances or anything. I know that what happens to you is when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're worrying about every little thing seems to be bigger than it really is. So I would say she ought to definitely start with some therapy and embrace that. I think talking to somebody about it, and they'll dig deep down in and ask you a lot of questions and find out what's going on in your life, and they can put two and two together. And for me, when I went through it, the psychologist and the psychiatrist both put two and two together that I had some emotional damage when I was a young child, when I was taken away from my grandmother at 2 or 3 years old. And it was a shock to me, and came rushing back all those years later when my wife got sick and almost died. So you don't know all the connections of your brain and the experiences you've had and what caused that and the insecurities that caused that. And I would say get professional help. Obviously, you can't figure this out by yourself, and I'll guarantee you, talking to somebody about it is one of the best things you can do because it really helps you relax. And you will find out that a lot of people are in therapy these days. And I know a lot of people close to me, family, friends that are doing it every day. Yeah, so go get some help.
When Lee talks to you about this, know that it's coming from someone who has really dealt with it. I mean, Lee had two two bouts of it. One when Purcell almost died, then again in 2016. Lee went through it and knows it. Lee, I will tell you this. I had some issues causing anxiety recently. I didn't end up talking to you about it, but a couple of friends, I just happened to mention it, and both of them immediately came forward and said, "Oh yeah, I deal with anxiety so often."
Everybody
And
does.
yeah, and that's what I'm realizing. Everybody's dealing with it, and nobody wants to talk about it.
And
And
that's
and it
in
just
America,
helps.
in America, we put on a good face. We don't want anybody to know that we're having a problem. So when people say, "How are you doing?" you say, "Oh, I'm great. Everything's great." And that's not true. And I'm still taking medication. This has happened 08, 18 years ago. I take the meds, not because I have any problem right now, but I don't want to have another problem. It's the darkest place you can be, and I know what she's going through. It starts with anxiety, and it gets worse if you don't get help. And talking is really a good thing. I told everybody I was going through it. You remember that. We talked about it, hey, because you're just not yourself. And it's not going to get better by her trying to fix it by herself. I would say go get professional help.
All right, Lee, let's take one more different approach to this. What if you're a supervisor and an employee either tells you or you hear about it or notice they're having anxiety? Is there anything you can do as a manager and a leader
Oh,
when this is happening?
I think that's really a good question, Jody. And I think that the issue is today, if you're a leader out there in the world, you should be paying attention to your people, how they feel. Are they feeling like they're doing okay? Do you see a change in their behavior, their attitude, anger, comments they make? Being close to your people, meet with them often. See, how are you doing? You got any issues I can help you with? How's your health? Just make. I think the leader has to open the door for people feel safe to walk through and tell you about problems they're having. Because I can guarantee you, 99% of the time, your boss is going to have the same problem, and maybe they don't all admit it, or they think they're tough. And you see a lot of tough managers today. That's how they take it out on people because they don't know what to do, so they get aggressive. So, yeah, I think I frankly in my family, I talk to my family and some friends about it all the time. We talk about that when they're going through something. Somebody that I'm close enough to know they're going through it, and they trust me enough to talk about it. And often me telling them this story helps them understand. Oh, Lee had it. I thought he had a perfect life. If you only knew. And your brain, it's a chemical. It's mainly chemical reaction in your brain that causes anxiety and depression. And sometimes it's going to take some medication and therapy to work your way out of it. And as you know, I exercised, I saw a psychiatrist, saw a psychologist. I quit drinking alcohol. I quit drinking caffeine. I didn't turn on the television. We just listened to music. I calmed down on my whole environment. I canceled all my speeches for a year to get this under control because that's how bad it got. So anxiety is just the first step. You got to be careful it doesn't turn into depression. Yeah, there's a lot you can do about it. I would keep talking to people. Don't be embarrassed to bring it up. I would just, again, go online and see what therapy is available or in your community. And I guarantee you, if you start seeing a therapist, you will get better. You'll get better. Because I remember the day my psychiatrist told me, Lee, you're going to be fine. It'll pass. It's just going to take some time, but you're going to get okay. And one day, that even made me feel good. And I did. One day I woke up and I was fine and kind of worked my way through it. Yeah.
I remember something Lee mentioned on an episode. It was years and years ago. I don't remember if we were talking about anxiety or just being a leader, but Lee said, if someone changes, something changed. Meaning, as a leader, look for things in the workplace.
Yeah.
People don't just start acting different at work for absolutely no reason. If their behavior has changed, if they were a good worker and now they're not, if they were always on time and now they're late, something changed. That's what you can look for as a leader.
That's a good point. Quality of work, absenteeism, calling out. Yeah. Yeah. No question. That's good advice.
And I think, Lee, you also have been talking a lot about psychological safety. If you see someone as a leader in the workplace that has anxiety, where's the balance where you should be One, saying, okay, how can I help them as an individual? And two, do I need to evaluate how safe of a workplace people feel this is?
Well, I think we could all do that as to, am I as good as I think I am? Do I create an environment? Do I treat people respectfully? Do they know they can approach me? Do they know I'm available? Do they know I won't overreact? Have you really become the kind of person people trust and they'll walk in and can sit down and talk to you about anything? And that's a self-evaluation, and we all should do it, and do it at home, do it in your marriage, do it with your kids. What am I doing to cause somebody not to want to talk to me? Have I made it psychologically 100% safe to approach me? And we want parents to do that too, because insecurity runs through teenagers dramatically. And so yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, Lee, because I have found parenting adult children is in many ways much harder than parenting young children because adult children are dealing with all the same things you are as an adult. And
Absolutely.
it causes a lot of anxiety.
Absolutely. It's you're trying to find your way and you don't have the experience yet and your parents maybe you think they're expecting too much from you and you don't want to do it. You don't like what decision you made to go to school or do this or that and they're always on you about something. It's true. Everything, by the way, everybody just needs to realize this is all in your brain. It's all chemical. It's triggered by insecurity, triggered by somebody mistreating you, it's triggered by this, it gets triggered. And sometimes we cause the triggering because we're not as nice and kind and listen and be available and help people feel secure. People want to feel secure. That's it. And let me tell you, I saw a guy the other day was online. He was asking for money, and he said he had $4 left. He'd lost his job. His his electricity was about to be cut off. And I'm guarantee you, there are tens of thousands right now in the United States that don't have a job, can't get a job, and when you see the unemployment rate come out, they're living on the edge. And maybe their wife has a job, maybe she doesn't. We don't know how bad it is out there, and you don't know how bad it can get. And that's why you have to really be on top of your performance. You have to be on top of paying attention in the workplace, looking for opportunities to be better than everybody else. And also, I'd say at the same time, be back studying something to have a backup career too. And I mean, we don't talk about that on here. The millions of people that don't have a job and can't get one. And what do? And their unemployment's run out, and they have no relatives had any money either. There's people out there just barely making it. And they're kind of coming in to do a job and put on a good face. And you'll see it in their behavior with anger and lateness and not getting their work done and going home early and going for 20 smoke breaks and God knows what else. It's out there. It's real. There's not a parent out there that doesn't have to worry about their kids. And another worry. And then they start driving and then they have a date and then I mean, it's like, give me some more things to worry about. And it's real. It's real. And we got to, and I think for this lady, she needs to understand a lot of people are going through this, and
Yeah.
you can get better, and you will get better.
All right. As we wrap, I've got two things. First, we talked a lot about being a leader and dealing with anxiety in the workplace as a leader. I think one way you can help yourself with that is the Main Street Leader because it will always give you things to think about as a leader. It will help you run pre-shift meetings. And that alone is valuable because you will see your people every day and then you can pick up on what's going on. So mainstreetleader.com, that's where you can find that. And not to make light of the topic of anxiety, but I do know vacations with families, those always help me, Lee, just to get away and be with my family. Well, that's one of the reasons we've partnered with Magical Vacation Planner because of the great work they do. And we know the impact that vacations and travel can have on the workplace, on families, on you. So call our friends at Magical Vacation Planner at 407-442-26. So over the next week, just be kind to people. Look for someone that just needs a handshake or a hug, pat on the back. Until next week, go out and create magic for others.